Hey everybody, this is Daniel, the marketing manager from Let's Eat Grandma, and here with my founder Chris.
Howdy. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, and we are just going to talk about some creative resumes today. We're going to show you some examples of the good, the bad, and the ugly of creative, non-traditional, wacky resumes. This is a subject we just did a big podcast on, the Career Warrior podcast, episode number 86. If you haven't listened to that yet, go and listen to it. It's kind of a supplemental content to this. We dive more into when you would want to write a creative, non-traditional resume and when you would want to stay away from it. But basically, just to define, we have creative resumes as resumes with non-traditional formatting, maybe infographics, bright colors, personal logos, unconventional timelines, etc.
All the above.
All of the above. Sometimes those are a doozy. So, yeah. So we're talking about generally unconventional resumes. They're very popular right now, and sometimes they really work, but sometimes they really don't. So we're gonna go through some hypothetical examples here. These are some examples that we have pulled from articles about creative resumes, and we blocked out all of the identifying information. And so we're just kind of dissect them. Chris is going to offer some thoughts as a certified professional resume writer and the founder of a company who actually does hire people. And then I'm going to offer some additional thoughts as well as a creative and a resume writer. And yeah, let's dive right in.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Do it.
It's much better that we're able to share these resumes and show you rather than just to talk about it in audio format. So Daniel is pulling up a screen share right now to see these beautiful examples we've pulled up.
Let's do it. Okay. Resume rehash: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And the ugly.
So we've got 4 total resumes right now, and we'll go through them quickly. There's my messy desktop. And here is example number 1. Chris, I'm going to give you a few seconds to read through this and just tell me your initial thoughts. And I can zoom in if you want.
Well, my initials are at the top left-hand side, and so that's the first thing I noticed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
All right, dude. I don't even know where to look. My problem is, okay, with your traditional resume, I could read things left to right and it makes sense and it follows the format. But here, everything is so spread apart. I feel like there are 3 different planes of like in the resume, 3 different columns. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And it visually is creating a lot of problems. In my brain just doesn't even know where to look. So I have a little bit of a tough time with this one. I'm trying not to be mean here, or I'm trying not to I'm trying not to blast what this person's doing because it looks like they probably put a lot of time into it and the color choices and blah, blah, blah. But for me, I don't even know what this person did.
Yeah. All right. Bold words from Chris. We love it.
I'm angry. No, I'm kidding. This resume makes me angry.
Oh, can't stand it. No. Yeah, thanks, Chris. That's a really valuable perspective as somebody who hires people and knows resumes intimately. It's good to just know the initial impression right off the bat because, as a lot of us have probably heard, employers can spend as little as 6 seconds looking at a resume to get an initial impression. So yeah, I agree. This resume is a little confusing. However, compared to some of the other examples we're going to look at, there are some good things going on here. You'll see up here, this person is a graphic designer and an art director. So it makes sense that the resume would look a little like this, that it would be very vibrant. I think just from an overall graphic design perspective, they did a very good job getting eye-catching colors, and it might not be the most intuitive, but you do have some really original kind of creative things going on here.
True.
And another good thing I want to highlight is that this person does have metrics and accomplishments here. They've got a timeline that's like kind of color-coded over here. So that's not intuitive. But you do have, the amount of years they have, the amount of books that they've managed annually, 20 plus corporate projects delivered annually. And then you have the creative process down here. This is actually kind of an original thing. for an art director, that kind of shows like typically how they produce their work. So a lot of original things going on here. And if you take like the parts of this resume, the individual parts of it
Yes.
are good, I think.
I agree, and like that's what I'm saying. Like if I had a longer time to look at this, and I could zoom in and zoom out, and like I really was already, if I already was invested in this person, I knew this person handing it into me, I probably would give it a look. But
Yeah.
if this was someone, and I'm looking through a bunch of different resumes, it would be a little overwhelming. But
Yes.
I
It's
know I do agree that I think the actual elements of the resume are creative.
yes, but the sum of it all is not intuitive and it's difficult to get
Yeah,
initially.
quit
Yeah.
my like if I were to redo this resume, consider doing 2 column instead of 3, and I think it would be a little bit better. Like, maybe cut out the I don't know, take out some of the left-hand side and then make 15 years of freelance and all that stuff underneath the left plane of the resume. I don't know, something.
I agree. It could use a written out summary at the top too. We're big advocates of like
Yes,
summary of
because
qualifications.
that's where the eye goes first. That's the
Yeah.
first thing that I look at. I think that's how we're trained to look at resumes, like anyone's trained, so,
Right. Just have a short paragraph here detailing their qualifications and
yeah.
kind of explaining what they're going to get in this resume, and they'd be great.
Cool.
Right on. Round two.
Mm.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Same thing here, Chris. Take a few seconds and then tell me what you think.
All right.
Mhm.
Much better. This is my opinion. This is such a subjective thing, and it pains
It
me
is.
to, but I'm going to give my opinion. I like this one a lot better than the last one. I know instantly what types of positions this person's applying for, what they're qualified, their video editing, and illustration. That is obvious because it's at the very top of the resume. And I like it because it's a lot more simple than the other one. And my brain knows what to look at. Like I can follow this along quite well, actually. Um, I'm a really big fan of the picture, the little sketch at the bottom right hand side, especially because this person's applying for illustration positions. If this is something that she did herself, then I am very impressed with what she's able to do, and I think this would stand out. I'm always a little bit on the fence about skill meters. So this person has technical skills, and it shows like what she's decent at and what she's good at. I don't know. I get why you're doing it, and I like the honesty approach, but it just like for me, it doesn't like. I don't like it when people say like After Effects, I don't have the skill. So like, why are you putting it in the resume in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Right.
Um, if I could retweak this resume, I might say I'm a big fan of including summaries at the top, just because like it's tough to read summaries already because they're very prosaic in their paragraphs.
Mhm.
So putting at the top makes it a lot more likely that it will get read just by the virtue of how we read things.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on most everything there, Chris. I think in general, this one is a lot cleaner than the last one. I think this is a really good example of how to structure a resume that's really out of the box and really showcases creativity, while
yeah,
still being clean enough to give the hiring manager everything that they need right away. Yeah, and this is also a prime example of this, this lovely illustration down here, and these kind of other ones too, with like the phone for contacts and the computer for the technical skills.
yep,
It's a good example of how to apply your creativity directly to the job description. This person's an illustrator, and this is a prime example to just say like, "Hey, here's what I can illustrate." But she also didn't go too over the top because the assumption here is that she has a portfolio, that she's also going to submit for these kind of positions. So
yes. You
um,
don't have to show everything, just a taste.
exactly. Yeah. So I think this is a really good example of, just a taste of accomplishing what a resume really should for a creative position. And I agree with you. I'm just going to have to real quick get on my soapbox about skill bars. I cannot stand these. I get why people do it, and I don't want to knock people who want to show this kind of creativity, especially with designers. But I mean, the assumption here is that the assumption here with skill bars is that all of these skills are an equal level of difficulty. This is ranking all of these on the same plane.
Yeah,
Whereas like Logic Pro is, I mean, it's different for everybody, but like Logic Pro has a very different skill set and learning curve than drawing. Like those are
Yeah.
two completely different skills. So we
Yeah,
should compare
that's a
them
good
on the
point.
same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, and in general, you see this like 2 stars, 3 stars. It's kind of like, it's if you don't want to really raise any red flags with giving low skill bars, but at the same time, you don't want to give 5 stars for everything because that's just not true. So I think it really
Right.
puts you in a bind of using skill bars.
Yeah.
I think it's much better to just list out your skills, and then if you
Don't put the meter.
yeah, just list out the skills, and if you need to clarify, clarify it in the interview. Say like, hey, yeah, I'm not as great with After Effects, but I'm learning it. But I'm excellent with Adobe Premiere. You know,
Boom. All I gotta
there
say.
you go.
All I
There
gotta
you
say.
go. All right, it's a great job with this one. Number 2, number 3. I'm okay. Saving the best for last. So this is an interesting one. Now here I've blocked out a lot. There was a lot of information, so I've blocked out a lot. This is name, college, and then these are like logos and names of companies. So you okay there, Chris?
I need to go home. Okay.
Fresh air.
Since we're just commenting on design, this is very easy for me to jump to conclusions. I think like art visually, we could design is the first thing we notice within seconds. So I could immediately start commenting here. I don't doubt that the color palette is good. I love blues. I love the font. I think it's fine. But okay, just almost going back to it, it is just too condensed. Like there is just too much information jam packed on one single page. I just wish this person was able to expand upon it. And I would much rather take a 2-page resume with the same amount of content than this. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is bad, like by its very nature, but it's for me, I don't even want to read it just because I feel like it is just going to be way too much information. So those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with this one, man. It's kind of overwhelming. This one is kind of unfortunate because there are some like really inventive ideas here. This post-it note up here to give the hiring manager a place to take notes. They even have QR codes here that they can scan to link to their
Cool.
portfolio. I
Very
think
neat.
that's super neat. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great like call to action within the resume.
Oh gosh, no, don't do that one yet.
That's for last.
I gotta relax.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
need to go take a walk or something, man. But yeah, good ideas, but again, just too much and not intuitive. I would much rather just see where he worked and have dates. He doesn't have dates on here, which is not good. I'd much rather see just dates than like a map of all the places. There's also with this one, I'll just briefly touch on this. There's a lot of humor in this resume. Um,
Uh-huh.
you have, which I personally think it falls flat. It shows his creativity, but you have all of these stats like number of Twitter followers, site traffic, but then 3 languages I can order food in, 37 purported number of Justin Biebers I can take in a fight. Like,
My number is 52, so this guy
yeah,
has a little
for
work to
starters,
do.
I could take like 7. So that's like, should not be showing that off, man. No,
Funny though. I like it.
yeah, it's funny, it's lighthearted, but it's just too much. There's too much of a risk with falling flat with stuff like that.
I
Um,
am radiating center of universal love. Like that statement's
okay, but like, do you know how to use Excel? Like,
right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a bold statement.
it's
Yeah.
a bold statement. You do have to really admire this person for their like gumption and their boldness. Absolutely. But that being said, I'd change this resume just by taking a lot out and just kind of toning it down a little bit to play it safe a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah. And last but not least, the one, the only,
My little
my little
resume,
resume.
my little resume. I love you so. That is crazy, dude.
Yeah, so
That is insane.
this resume actually got a lot of buzz. This is from a few years back. It
Oh,
got articles
Joseph.
in the Huffington Post and Jezebel and a few other places about it. So yeah, just drink it in. Just drink it in, Chris.
Why do I have to drink it?
You can collect
Can I
your
just
thoughts.
read it? Let me see. Let me see what he's actually okay. Computer science and mathematics. Um. Okay. Um. What do you want to know?
Like, where do you even start?
Pony stats? Are you kidding me? Pony stats? You're a pony? You're not a pony. You're a professional applying for a job.
There's a good place
Take
to start.
take that clip and put that on YouTube because
Roll with it.
that's gold right there. All right, okay, but listen. This is just way over the top, and I will stand by this, and I'll say it. The only reason you should ever submit this resume in particular is if you're applying for a position working with the brand My Little Pony. And I don't even know if that brand exists anymore. If it does, then great. But this is just it is just generally over the top, and I could break down and give specific reasons why. Um, it's just like it's too colorful, and I don't know if that's even like I don't know if it even just makes sense. The positions he's applying for is computer science and mathematics. Why would you have a resume that is this level of creativity in color, for that kind of reason? But unless this is a complete joke, I just don't think this makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there, man. You got to admire like the amount of work that went into this. Like, man, like this guy spent a lot of time. Um, yeah, but like I agree. This is kind of just textbook like bells and whistles, like trying to get it.
Yeah.
Where I do want to commend this person is that
Yeah, let's look at the positive. I think you and
yeah,
I
yeah, for sure,
we do
because
that
it's
well.
not all bad. And I mean, like, I think I remember reading in some of these articles that like this guy actually did get a job. Like, it's I don't want to say that this would never work. Because here's some of the good things. You have all of the all of the pony stats are relevant, like
Is he a pony? Can we clarify that real quick?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
If this person is actually in fact a pony, then we apologize. Then this is perfect. But yeah, so yeah, you have very good GPA, you've got skills, you've got a lot of awards, and then if you read the text, and I'm actually going to zoom out of the text because like I think there's some company names there. This was a pre-blocked out version I downloaded, but like yeah, there's within the text there's actual like it takes a little bit of commitment to read, but there are actual accomplishments and kind of just like a career narrative. um they went bold while still giving some evidence. So you do have to give them credit for that. Um, but my thing with this resume is like, yeah, it's way out of the box, and like, you always get told, or people always say this, like they want to be bold and stand out. But if you be this bold, if you decide to go this bold, um, the thing is you risk alienating a lot of
true.
potential good reviews of your resume. The people who like this resume are going to like it, yes, but why I wouldn't recommend it is because it narrows your chances. You'll stick out as the Milo resume guy for sure, but I mean, half the companies might remember you as that, but the other half very well may just throw this in the trash because they don't think you're taking it seriously.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that. I think when it comes down to one thing, you're completely correct. You just don't want to lessen your chances,
Right.
especially if you are taking a more, let's just call it a shotgun approach, so to speak, and you're just submitting this online. You don't want to decrease your chances because going back to a podcast we had earlier with Art Markman, he's a psychology professor in marketing and wrote a whole book on the job search. Um, Most of the time when recruiters and hiring decision makers are looking at the resume first, they're not looking for reasons to necessarily hire someone. They're looking for reasons to throw your resume out
Yes,
just because they have so many resumes to look at and they just have to filter. They're in filtering mode.
exactly. No, I totally agree, man. Um, yeah, that's. I think there's all. That's all you can
Good
say
one to
about
end
it.
in. I think, yeah, good selection, Daniel. I know you
My
took some
little
time to look
resume.
at all of these, but yeah, great job.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing your thoughts on this. I think we got some really good insights here, and I want to make clear that like as we're going through these, I hope we showed enough good and bad, kind of do's and don'ts of creative resumes. We don't want to discourage you from doing one of these, but just to know that it's something that you should be really careful and calculated about. It very much depends on the context of the positions and the companies you're applying for. So definitely go take a listen to Career Warrior Podcast number 86. We'll put a link in the description below. Um, and yeah, if you have any resume thoughts, if you have a resume like this and you're curious about it, go ahead and email it to projects@letseatgrandma. And we'll go ahead and take a look at it. We'll give you a free career score. And we mentioned that you saw this video or heard this podcast. And yeah,
We'd love to hear that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We'd love to
Yeah,
hear. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And we'll go ahead and take a look and see what we can do for your resume.
cool. See y'all
Yeah.
next time.
Take it easy.